Looking deep down the left side, Mendeville into the end zone, touchdown! Down the sideline, still falling to the house.
And the players streaming from the sideline to celebrate with 17 seconds left.
Welcome into BVarsity Live, everybody, for Thursday, March the 2nd, with a special day here, as it always is for us, with the state wrestling tournament coming to Bakersfield this weekend for the 13th year in a row. And I'm Zach. That's Trevor over there. And in the house, the much more important people here, CIF Executive Director Roger Blake, who was just threatening to walk out on us a minute ago, and his Associate Executive Director, Ron Nichetti. Welcome in, guys. Thanks for being here yet again.
Oh, no. Thank you for having both of us.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Third year in a row, I think?
Third year in a row. The best part about this is Roger may be the one that's trying to get out now, but it's been Ron the one that's been trying to get out of this all week long. Like, I think yesterday, you said, why am I even going to be on there? And I said, because I need you to harness that one in.
That's true.
Actually, you know what? Ron leaves, so he is unharnessed.
There's no such thing.
I was going to say, what makes for better television here?
There's a point.
Roger
people
going
don't
off
wanna
the
hear
rails
me
is what
anymore.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, state wrestling is back here, and it was 2 years ago, if my memory serves correctly, that a 5-year deal was signed to keep it here. So it's this year and 2 more under contract. Is that right? Do I have that right? This is why Ron's here.
Ron's here. Ron handles contracts, so I believe that's correct.
Yeah, we have a few more years here in Bakersfield, and it's been a great place. I mean, from the management team with Alan Paradise and his team that runs it to the city, how we're treated here, it's been a great partnership for all involved.
It seems like in a lot of sports, you all have settled into a spot that works for you. Not that it's a guarantee you'll always be there, but Woodward Park for cross country.
Buchanan for
state track's been there several years now. I want to say volleyball has moved around a little bit, but mostly been in the same place. Football's obviously moved, but do you like having that aspect? And Ron, if you're in charge of contracts, we should ask you that, if of sort of having the familiarity, or is it always going to be that atmosphere of competition?
Well, I think you have to go where the venues want you. Number one, and the cities that we tend to go to are the cities that welcome us with open arms and want high school athletics in their towns. I also think with the sports you mentioned, they've stayed in one place because they're centrally located, where we have, it's not 5 basketball teams coming from one region or another, but 600 wrestlers, 2,000 cross-country kids all traveling from different parts of the state. It makes it a little easier when they can all get here by vehicles in a timely manner. So I think that's part of it too.
One of the things that's really changed with high school sports in my 17 years in the state office, this event this weekend, 30,000 people are coming into Bakersfield over the course of these 2 days. So that's a huge income and a big boost for the local economy. So where 15 years ago we would be asking, can we please come? Now,
right.
Communities and cities are bidding for it because they want that community impact. So that's really been an evolution of high school sports over the last 15
For everybody
years.
that's watching this out of town, the In-N-Outs are closed. Do not go there. They're closed in town. Don't go to the In-N-Outs. Stay away.
Why are you being so protective of In-N-Out?
Because I don't like lines to begin with.
There's always a line anyway.
And there's always a line at In-N-Out. So it's one of those things where even if I had a hankering for it, I wouldn't go this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, all these kids that are wrestling through tonight and through tomorrow, the wrestlers, they won't be partaking at In-N-Out. They'll be managing and on a strict diet. But the fans and the moms and the dads and all of us adults, I think we'll be at lots of different restaurants this weekend.
You can have 1 1/4 bananas for dinner. That's it.
Well, and how is that plug that you guys have, that pull that you say when you're looking for a new venue, a new city, that go, look at how much money comes in. Ron, for you, or Roger, I guess, Ron, you're going to divert this one. That's a lot of money coming in, and you guys keep growing and growing and growing, and you look at girls wrestling, and that sport in itself is growing exponentially over the years, and Visalia is just booming off of it, right?
Last weekend we're in Visalia with what do we have? 336 young female wrestlers, and when we first started at Visalia, sometimes when you walk into the convention center, it's great venue, great thing, but it's empty. This last weekend, it was full. Yeah. So yes, it's growing. But a huge part of it too, I think, is what Ron just said. It's the community. Visalia, I walked into a local Starbucks down a few blocks from the hotel. Signs are up for that event. in a Starbucks. So it's the same here in town for the boys wrestling this weekend. That makes these kids feel special. Yes, there's a good financial rebirth back into the community, but the community gives back also. And I think that's been one of the things that we've looked at for the years here at Bakersfield. This community has embraced this event. And on Saturday night, there'll be 10,000 people in the arena, and they're not there rooting for one athlete. They're there for the love and passion of the sport. And it just makes it special for the kids. And that's one of the things we really like to try to make sure. Kids have fun and it's special.
Elephant in the room, I think, right now is, you've expanded football to 13 divisions, basketball's 6 divisions, wrestling 1 in each weight class. So you got 14 state champs, regardless of school size. Please tell me that's going to be the model for a while.
It depends which side of the wrestling community you ask. There's some that California, we're one of the few states that still, it's 1 division, 1 state champion.
I believe there are 5 states.
Yeah,
that's
and,
it.
And they take it, and it's huge. Kids take great pride. I mean, the March of Champions on Friday night before the finals. All those kids. I mean, everybody forgets California. 1,588 high schools. 800,000 plus kids participating in high school sports. We are the largest in the United States. If you medal in wrestling in California, you're an All-American. It's at a level of these elite athletes. It's amazing. So there's no proposals in the near future. The wrestling community, after this event this weekend, Brian Seymour, our event director, Brian will chair the Wrestling Advisory Committee, and they'll go, okay, what went great? And everybody will pat themselves on the back, what went well, and then it's, okay, now what do we need to do to be better next year? How can we make this a better event for kids next year? And there's always discussion about the process and the venue, but also how do we want to continue to do it? So, but as of today, there's no proposals coming forward to change that.
Okay.
There's a way of thinking out there among wrestling coaches that I've talked to that say, well, they know that if they have more, meaning the CIF, if you have more divisions, you make more money. You sell more tickets, you have more venues, so it's inevitable they'll do it. But you're saying that's not necessarily the case.
No, not at all. We need to make money to break even. We're here and putting on a great event for the next 2 days, and when the 2 days are over, our balance sheet needs to balance. We need to be able to pay the bills. That's all we need to do. We're a nonprofit semi-state agency, so we're not trying to make a dollar. We just need to break even. So it's pretty finely budgeted what we're spending money on, what we won't, and those type of things. So, no, if it was purely a financial thing, let's have 12 divisions and 12 different. I mean, just all these different things. But no, that you've got to plan these playoffs, and it's different in every sport. How does it fit the sport? How do we best serve the kids? How do we best serve the sport? That's why when you mentioned girls earlier, girls wrestling, it went from a very small venue with less than 200-300 kids across the state participating, young girls. This past year, over 4,000 high school female athletes. And we'll see what it is when it comes in for this year's census. So, yeah, it's building and growing. But everyone has to be a little bit different.
Well, and I don't know if the two of you know, but here in Kern County, we had our first girls-only duel between Shafter and Golden Valley this season, and we had our first Kern County Girls Wrestling Championship this season. So that in its sport, obviously wrestling on the boys' side has been as big as it is anywhere in the United States. You could argue that. And so girls is starting to grow in that as well.
The Central Valley has been a hotbed in wrestling for a long time. Selma won the state championship in girls wrestling a year ago and defended it this past year. But there were some challenges this year that you saw some other schools coming forward. So
Del Oro was there.
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I can see in the future the boys and the girls meets, looking at how do we, just like we do with basketball, how do we put them together? Because it was quite a weekend.
Speaking of elephants in the room, and to borrow Trevor's term, and while we're talking about girls and boys wrestling, I'm sure you guys noticed in Texas this year, there was I believe it was a young person born a boy.
Negative. Born a girl, identifies as a boy. She won, I think, the 120-pound title as a
wanted
girl.
To wrestle with the boys.
Wanted to wrestle with the boys.
And
was
I believe
told
it was
by the
state law, yeah.
that she had to wrestle, that he had to wrestle for the girl in the girls bracket, which is something he didn't want to do. And as he went through the state finals, he's going through hormonal changes. He's taking hormone supplements to transition
And just
himself,
dominated the weight class.
and dominated
Yeah.
the weight class, and at points actually had to walk out onto the mat and take forfeits because in an ESPN story yesterday there were girls that he was supposed to wrestle in that bracket, and the parents was like, nope, you're not going out there.
So as awareness of sort of transgender issues comes to the forefront in this country and in high school sports specifically, is that something where you just have to take your cue from state law? How do you rule on something like that?
We're way ahead of Texas. And we're way ahead of the state law. 8 years ago, the CIF started from our Sports Medicine Advisory Committee talking to us. We are so lucky in California because we're so large. We do have some of the most preeminent sports medicine doctors live here in California, and their kids go to California high schools. And so we meet with them twice a year and ask, what's the trends? What are you seeing in your office? What are the policies we should be looking at to make sports safer? As we talk about concussions and all these other things. Well, they've been a lead. They were also a lead with us with transgender student athletes. CIF passed a bylaw that says we're going to allow the student athlete to participate in the sport in which they identify. Now, the state law also came forward a year after that did the exact same thing. So what happened in Texas, that wouldn't happen here in California. That student would have wrestled on the boys' side. There's a part where now transgender student athletes, kids who want to participate in sports that are going through these transitions, we're proud in California. We have we think one of the best bylaws and one of the best models. We get called almost weekly from other states. Hey, we've heard you guys have a really good model. How do you do this? And we've shared that with them. But it was a work in progress that we worked on for about 3 years with our sports medicine community and also with the medical community and the transgender community. How do we get these kids? They're kids. They want to play sports. How do we create opportunities for these kids? Because for 2 hours a day, and I was in a hearing in Sacramento, and it's controversial. I mean, obviously I understand the politics of that. But in a hearing in Sacramento, I listened to a transgender student athlete who testified. And at the end of that testimony, I sat there and went, they got it. Because what the student said is, it's the 2 hours a day I get to go to practice. It's the 2 hours I get to go to a game. I just get to be a kid. I get to play a game I love. It's not about my gender or how I identify. And in this case, it was a softball player. I just get to go play softball and do something I love. It's 2 hours. I just get to be a kid. And I went, hallelujah. That's what high school sports is supposed to be.
Yeah, that's great. If I may, a follow-up sort of political question.
Yeah.
You have a female transitioning to a male, taking hormones to do that, but still wants to compete against females. Is there a question of whether that's fair or not, that she's taking hormones or supplements or whatever?
Well, what we found, and that's a great question, but what we found in working with the transgender community, students who are truly in transition, they do identify with the other gender, and that's where they want to go. We've not had those type of issues because if I'm truly going through this transition and I want to participate and be observed and seen and feel this in the rest of my life, they don't want to kind of go back and forth and be on the fence. So that was one of the things that we overcame 8 years ago, because that was a question our schools always would come, oh, well, what about this? What about that? And that's when we got with the experts that go, that really, while we understand the concern, it really doesn't happen in the real world.
How about the other way around? A male transitioning to a female, where you have maybe some natural physical advantages, but you want to participate with the females.
Well, I'm guessing it's that instance where you said it was a softball player. I'm sure that was a born male who identifies as a female.
Does anybody raise unfairness questions?
No, they haven't. Because what's absolutely amazing, the kids, because I've been part of this transgender issue for 8 years. That was one of the duties that my predecessor, Maria Shida, said, I need you to lead this charge. So I really became educated and tried to understand and get immersed in this. The kids on the team, they have no issues. I mean, it's always the adult in the stands that we come in as adults with our preconceived ideas and prejudices, but the kids, it's really never been an issue. The kids, because that was always a concern. The kids are like, no, it's my teammate. leave me alone. Let's go play.
Oh, very good.
It's really not been an issue that we've seen. We haven't had to face what Texas just faced because our rules and laws didn't create the situation that they had.
Kudos.
Oh, that's very comforting, I think. We need to take a break, but we're going to be back with more Roger Blake and Ron Nichetti from the CIF State Office right after this on BVarsity Live.